What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're gonna love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
Doesn't look as messy as usual.
With my chair.
That looks fine like that.
Yeah. It's just this might be how it stays. That's
until you were to, get a house or something.
Move out. Hello everyone.
Hello everyone.
Welcome back to another episode of the F1 Underground podcast. If you are just joining us for the first time, I'm saying this because I've noticed we've gotten a couple new subscribers on Spotify. So first of all, thank you for subscribing. If you're just joining us, my name is Owen. That is my sister Casey. We are a brother-sister podcast duo. We talk about F1. We're slowly kind of branching into talking about IndyCar stuff and covering that. We're still trying to figure out what's the best route to go with that. But we post weekly episodes. We record every Tuesday, so episodes are typically out like Wednesday, Thursday-ish on that range, somewhere around there. So thank you for joining us. We go over a bunch of different stuff. We talk about weekly news. We talk about race recaps, race previews. We do challenges, a whole bunch of different stuff. So thank you for being here. Saying challenges just reminded me that I need to pull up my Pints and Pit Stops questions. Here we go. Perfectly. They're up.
Wait,
all right.
Quick question. Do I sound fine?
Yeah, you sound fine.
Okay, good. Okay. I've always turned like the mic gain down a little bit, and I did it just as while you were doing the intro, so I wanted to make sure I sounded fine.
Yeah, you sound good.
Okay. But yes, as Owen just said, we will go through our meme of the week, weekly news, Pints and Pit Stops. We have a recap of Austria, which was that like meme. It had you in the first half, like it was kind of boring, and then it was like, wake the F up.
There's a lot to unpack here with Austria.
And then we are introducing a new segment Owen and I talked about today called Threads Mailbag, because we get most of our questions from. So, because we get like a post every day before we record asking if anyone has any questions. And we do get some now. So I wanted to...
We get some answers. We got some questions.
We got some questions. And then we will give quick preview for Silverstone and our episode next week, because we have a special reoccurring guest coming on the show, which we're always excited to have.
Yes.
So,
forgot about that.
Starting off, meme of the week. I am back to normal. I have two. So, do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
I'll go first because mine's one. And it may be a little bit more difficult to describe. I love SpongeBob memes. First of all, any sort of SpongeBob meme, I think they're top tier. So it's the episode where I forget what it is. SpongeBob's wearing the hat that has the drinks that come down, and it's like I found it, and it was this guy's name with like a really weird name, and he was number one. So then Mr. Krabs is like, "Oh, I'm gonna go get this hat because this is a great idea." And he says, "Am I really?" And he finds the hat in his grave. And he's like, "Am I really going to defile this grave for money?" And he's like, "Of course I am." And he starts digging down. But overlaid on top of Mr. Krabs, it says Formula One. And then on the number one, it says Max and Lando's friendship. And it leans into Austria, which we'll cover some more and everything. But unless you were living under a rock, you'll know exactly what we're talking about in terms of Max and Lando in Austria. So I think it's hilarious. But yes, but I honestly chose it just because it's SpongeBob. Like,
of course.
I just love SpongeBob memes. I think they're hilarious.
No, but it's good. I mean, when you think about like how Sky Italy or all the Sky F1 coverage had like a montage of their friendship and the moments that they had together at the end of the broadcast, like they were digging that grave for money. I mean, I posted today, I said, I need the FIA to give people what they want, and I need Max and Lando to be in the drivers' press conference on Thursday.
Oh,
and then I need Stella and Horner in the team principal one.
Principal
And then
conference.
someone was like, no, throw Toto in there as well, because Toto was still delusional, thinking that Max Verstappen is going to give him the time of his day. And I posted
that is weird.
I posted today, I said, when I grow up, I want to be as Delulu as Toto Wolff. And then and then I said, but just throw Fred Vasseur right there as well, purely for the facial expressions, because he's going to have good facial expressions. So
he can't keep a straight face with stuff. So he'll have.
But yeah, that was Owen's meme of the week. My memes of the week. Also, if you're new here, I rarely ever have just one. So, okay, this is my first one. It's not really a meme. It's kind of just really cute. So, Oscar's race engineer, Tom, takes a selfie every time Oscar is on the podium. And it looks like Facebook dad, like his face is in the corner of each photo. Like, it's just so cute. Some people were saying, like, when Oscar wins, that selfie is going to be amazing.
It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be so good.
But as Oscar's race engineer, you would think he might be up there. So, like, is the selfie going to be
selfie up there?
He's going to take the selfie up there. But yeah, so this is my first one.
He's got to take the selfie up there and then hand somebody his phone, because obviously the champagne spray and everything, you don't want your phone to be there for that. But yeah, he's got to be up there for it.
So yeah, this is like I said, not really a meme of the week. It's just like kind of adorable. But yeah, then moving on. This is a real meme of the week, and this is from Red Bull Twitter. Posted, ready for the British GP. See you soon, Silverstone. And it's that picture of Flynn Rider from Tangled with all the swords around him.
This picture though is so good at describing what Twitter is like. It's just like, you're just hanging out, and people are just like, "Don't do that. Like you're doing that wrong." You know, this is a great response from them. I did enjoy the amount of teams, specifically Red Bull and McLaren, kind of like leaning into it and like running with it. But this is good.
You can't even say that McLaren was running with it, because people posted today because McLaren shared that video of Anthony Davidson giving the breakdown of the last laps, like their battle. And people were like, I thought this was a fan account. This is from the F1 team that, like, meanwhile, then you have people that are probably going to go, and Max is already getting, like, hated on before. And the fact that they tweeted, I sent you, so I'm going to look it up real quick.
It was the fact that the official account posted it.
So it says thorough analysis from former F1 test driver and expert pundit Anthony Davidson on not just Lando and Max incident, but ones that have gone before, with the eye emoji. You're asking for it. So people are like, you can either be petty like McLaren or just Red Bull and owning up to it and poking fun at the situation. Like, so people like, come on now, McLaren. Someone's like, wait, I did a double check because I thought it was like a fake tweet or a fan page. But yeah, so that was the
fact that it's them. Like, whoever greenlit that post, get them out. That's not a good idea.
Let's send can we send a what's it called? Anonymous email to Mercedes, or to McLaren, like to Mercedes. I could have had two other memes of the week also, because I also posted a picture from Austria 2019, where Charles Leclerc looks like he wants to give Max Verstappen, kill Max Verstappen with look. There's like a carbon copy picture where it's Lando from this past weekend. So like Austria's always giving us the drama. But yeah, meme of the week. Let me put this back up. Weekly news. Before we do our weekly news, there's not a lot. As always, the code is at the bottom of the screen, but please, you can use Underground 10, no vowels, the only vowels is the U, when shopping over at ipf1store.com for 10% off for all F1 related artwork in any literally style I think you could think of. Wall art, a mug, travel mugs now, the little cards that I have sit on my desk, anything you can think of. But yes, code will be on the little ticker tape thing or the scrolly banner for the whole entire episode if you watch on YouTube. But if you're a listener, like I said, it is Underground 10, no vowels, only the U, and over at ipf1store.com. But yes, moving on.
Moving on.
I'll do the IndyCar news first because it's more. It just happened not that long ago. So there's
Dramatic.
IndyCar news, and I'll give you, if you want to guess who it's dealing with, it's the one team that's been changing drivers the entire season.
I know it, so I can't
I know.
guess at it.
No one's gonna guess right here. So, but yes, Aaron McLaren today announces that next season. Well, first they announced that Alexander Rossi, who drives the number 7 car, and Aaron McLaren will be parting ways next season in 2025.
Right.
And then very shortly after, they announced that Christian Lundgaard, who is currently with Letterman Racing, he will be driving the number 7 car starting next year. So yes, once again, it's not like if someone was like, Frey on Threads was like, are they worse than Red Bull? I said, this is not as bad because there was, like, Rossi's contract was up. But when you look at
it makes sense.
Rossi's been the most, like, Pato's had some penalty troubles. He's had some issues at the start of the race, so he falls back, has to work his way back up. Obviously, the other cars had now 3 drivers in it. So, like, Rossi's been the most consistent driver in Aaron McLaren for the entire season. And he's still good. I mean, he is an Indy 500 winner. Like, he has, so I don't think he will be, quote unquote, unemployed for long. But there were jokes. I don't know if you've ever seen the videos. He looks like he hates life during social media videos for Aaron McLaren, like the fun little games and stuff.
Oh, Ralphie?
Yeah.
I have seen like 1 or 2 of them before. He's got a resting bitch face.
Yeah. I think at this point he plays up to the character because it's like a meme in itself or a joke that he just looks miserable. But yeah, I don't think he will be unemployed for long. People were saying that could Andretti take him back? Mark and I were having a conversation. Could he go to Prima with Logan? And I said that might be a perfect vet and like mentor to show Logan the ropes. The beginning of his IndyCar career. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where Rossi goes. He's not out of a job. It's not like he's definitely not out of a job. But he also doesn't fit the Zach Brown look. He's a tall guy, first of all.
Yeah, I mean Zach Brown loves the Lando Norrises and the Pato Awards of the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very marketable, very outgoing, energetic type of people. So I can understand like why. If that played into it, like the choice, that's a little weird to me because it's not really actually. I don't know what I'm saying because like I can understand from a business perspective being like we're trying to grow this team, we want to get more sponsors, we want to market the brand more and everything. Let's get somebody like Pato. The only experience I have with Christian is 100 Days of Indy, so it's like, is he super outgoing like Pato? Like, stuff like that.
I don't think he's had... I've seen clips on TikTok because now other IndyCar teams, like Andretti does a good job on TikTok and stuff. He does seem like he has a good personality, so I think he will mesh well with Pato and Nolan Siegel and stuff. I think they will get along fine, so I think it'll work. But yeah, it's hard because, like, you don't really know his person, like, will his personality work for the McLaren brand? Because you can't even just say it's our McLaren. Does it work for the McLaren brand?
It's the McLaren racing team across all categories of racing.
I'm pretty sure the Formula E guys also have like good personality. We all know Bianca has a good personality, so like it's the McLaren brand. But yeah, so that was the first piece of weekly news that literally happened not that long ago. Today. Other is regarding Silverstone coming up this weekend. First, we'll do the so Williams will be having F2 driver Franco. Oh no, I'm doing the reserve drivers.
Oh yes, sorry. Go ahead.
So Williams will be having F2 driver Franco Colapinto be driving in FP1. Most like I believe it's going to probably be Logan's car because obviously it's going to be Logan's car. Yeah. And then Jack Doohan will also be getting another shot at FP1. And I responded to Mark's article. I said, I'm praying he can get some good runs because Canada, he didn't get good runs in FP1. And then Mark sent a
Yeah.
screenshot of the weather, and there's an 80% chance of rain on Friday. So
Yeah.
there might not be a lot of running on Friday.
It's not looking like a beautiful weekend for Silverstone. But
No, Saturday looks okay. Sunday, there's a chance of rain.
Sunday's got rain.
It said, no, when I just looked, it said 30%.
Oh, okay, that's not bad.
Friday, there's a decent chance of rain. And then I saw something, I haven't seen confirmation, so don't quote me on this, but I saw something that Ollie might be getting another shot at FP1. So it'll be interesting to see if he is. And at this point, Haas just announced that he's driving free next year because
Yeah, you gotta
it's the
just
worst.
make that announcement.
Yeah, it's the worst kept secret. Now let me go back so I can get the actual wording right. So yes, there's going to be special liveries at Silverstone. I'm expecting a special helmet from Lando, from maybe George and maybe Lewis. They don't do as many as much, but
Lewis I can see doing it.
Lewis has, if you've ever noticed, Lewis has a few that he'll wear again. He always brings back the Pride helmet during June, or he'll wear the Pride helmet in Middle Eastern countries. He has maybe 4 that he will wear again.
Through.
Yeah, I think last year the only one that he had. Oh no, last year he had the chrome one, which was sick. Oh, that was Silverstone, wasn't it? Or was that Japan?
No. Oh, it may.
I think it was Japan. I think it was Japan.
Yeah.
Austria's having special race boots that a fan designed. They had a contest and a fan won it.
That's very cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did you see he got he called the girl, FaceTimed or a Zoomed call with the girl? And yeah, I'll send you the tweet. The girl goes, where is it? The girl at the end goes, I'm going to freak out now when I hang up. And he goes, that's okay.
He knows. He's aware.
But yeah, they look sick. They're very animated. I like them. So, okay, here we go. But yes, Williams, they kill it with a special livery always.
So good. It's so nice.
Always. They will be racing with a special Union Jack livery for the British GP this weekend, and it will have 100. Yeah, thank you. It will have all the names of the 105.
1,005.
Thank you. Team members on the livery. I'm literally looking at the number and I can't process it.
Which is just cutting out 900 members of the company.
See ya. Yes, that's what their livery look like. It's sick. It has the Union Jack on the back, the fin and stuff. So it looks nice. What?
I saw a tweet earlier today when it was having Logan Sargent drive this livery on 4th of July weekend is fucking comical, and I started losing it. I was like, "That's so good! It's fantastic."
I think it's hilarious that they go to Silverstone 4th of July weekend. I get it; it's a European sport, but I just think it's so funny. But yeah, no, Logan Sargent need to show up in a full USA outfit. Come on. As Jason and Travis Kelce were talking about in their New Heights episode last week, because they were in London, they're like, this country gave up a 13-0 lead, so
13, yeah, really lost it.
They just screwed it up. But yeah, so that's their special livery. We're definitely getting something from Red Bull, and it's going to have red on it. So
I think it's going to look really nice. I'll be honest with you. I'm really hoping it's going to be something vibrant and kind of depart from the classic Red Bull livery, but I wouldn't be shocked if it's kind of a letdown. But it is comical saying we're getting a red livery from Red Bull. It's well, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, they posted, the thread admin posted just a picture. It's from who's in it? It is a driver. I can't think of who it is though. And all it says is it's ... red.
Yeah.
And I responded, I said as in red, all capitals, bull.
That'd be really cool, actually, if it was a red and yellow, almost like a Ferrari. That would look really cool.
I then said, I need the Ferrari admin to be on it tomorrow if that car is as red as the Ferrari. But they won't.
Yeah.
They won't.
But we don't have to wait long for it. It comes out tomorrow.
Mhm.
You don't have to wait long for it. So I'm excited about that. Yeah, excited to see that and everything. But yeah, as far as other like liveries and helmets and whatnot, we don't know anything yet.
No, like I'm saying, I'm expecting a Lando one. He always has one.
Yeah,
George, I think, has before. Maybe will this year, especially after last week. Maybe they don't get them that quick, but he's going to be on a high after last weekend. I could see Lewis, especially because it's his last Silverstone with Mercedes.
I could see that happening as well. Yes, I mean tomorrow is media day, so it's
it's Thursday.
Oh, it is Thursday.
Thursday.
I always get golf weekends and F1 weekends mixed up because golf weekends start on Thursday and go to Sunday, and then F1 starts on Friday and goes to Sunday. So I flip them back and forth in my head. Thursday is media day. So, I mean, we still have tomorrow and Thursday to have things drop, and
especially because sometimes they like taking their the pictures with the new helmets at the track. So I could see them coming out on Thursday. Which is nice. I get to take in a media day while not being at work.
Yeah, right.
So that would be nice. Yeah. I can't think of anyone else because obviously there's a lot of teams that are having it's their home race. You have Aston Martin, you have Mercedes, you have McLaren, you have
that's it.
Technically Red Bull. They're also literally down the street from all those.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Last week was their team home race. So yeah, I mean you will have. There's a lot of it's a big weekend. I think the fan love for Lewis is going to be 10 times more than usual because it's his last race. And especially with all the drama.
I wanna tell Nick when he goes to be let me know how it is in terms of Lewis. Just I want to say propaganda. Just see if it's everywhere and see how it is, but.
I think it's going to be Lewis and Lando heavy. I have a
it's going to be nuts.
Fact. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see the ticket spikes after Lando and Max because people were oh my god, I want to go now, and the spike in ticket sales for Silverstone skyrocketed.
After they were complaining that Max was the reason why tickets were not selling. Max took it personally. He was like, you know what? Let me take your golden boy Lando Norris out on this last lap.
I'll fucking give you tickets to buy them. There you go.
Yes. Can I remove your screen from sharing? Or no, do you need it anymore?
Oh, no. Yeah, you can take it off.
Yeah, you take it off. Because it said kick from studio or ban from studio. And I just want to kick the wrong one.
Get rid of me, I guess. God.
See you later. But yes, Pints and Pit Stops.
Pints and Pit Stops. So, for any new listeners, hopefully sticking with us until now.
I've been forever.
Pints and Pit Stops is a segment that we do every so often. It is I like beer. I enjoy drinking beer. However, I'm not drinking a lot of beer right now. So right now my pint is just water. It has been for weeks.
Did you run out of beer from Human Robot? Are you getting more this weekend?
I did run out of beer from Human Robot, but I will be getting a different flavor this weekend because the last flavor I got was delicious. It was Thermal Soaker, very good. But I ask Casey, or Casey asks me, or we ask a guest trivia questions. The pit stop portion of it is it's timed. You want to go as quickly as possible. I'm not going to show it here because it looks very shitty too. But I did just finish making our average time and leaderboard and everything on Excel. It looks like garbage. I'm very upset with it. It's very bare bones right now. It doesn't look good at all. But I will be working on it. I will be making it better. But it will have our average time and it also have our fastest time. So it's So Casey, I'm asking Casey questions today. She's going to be answering questions about the Austrian GP.
Oh no!
Obviously, that was this weekend. Now, I will say there are some questions. So there are questions about the race, but then there are questions about my track facts video, and there are questions about the circuit itself. It's easy, all right? The specifically the question about my track facts video is very easy.
Okay.
So you'll be fine.
It's like how many Max's and ours. I'm not gonna know. I don't think I said that.
I did almost do that, and I was gonna be like, give me like, and I was gonna try to put like a multiplier or something on it to be like, if you get it within this many, like you get like 10 seconds off or something like that, or like 5 seconds off. But I was like, that's gonna be way too hard. So I went really easy with it.
Okay.
So obviously, I have a timer here on my iPad. Anybody can see it. I will read you the first question. When I am done reading the first question, I will start the timer.
Okay, I'm ready.
Got it?
Yep.
Cool. Are we ready?
No, I'm nervous. Good.
Pints and Pit Stops. We need like the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire music where it's like, like, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
You know exactly what you're talking about. The lights need to dim behind us. That's why Dad says we need like a soundboard.
I'm making it happen. That's going to be my next project. I'm going to get like floodlights back there.
Angela's so happy.
Yeah. Trust me, she's already thrilled with this. So.
I know.
All right. So 5 questions. Like I said, I'll read you the first one. Once I'm done the first one, I will start the timer.
Okay.
All right.
I'm ready.
Ready. Who did Charles Leclerc make contact with on the opening turn of the Grand Prix?
Oscar Piastri.
In the track facts video, was it raining or dry?
It was dry.
How many turns are there in Austria?
Oh, 10? There's not a lot.
What places did the Haas drivers finish in?
Oh, 5th and 8th? I'm wrong.
On what turn did Max and Lando make contact?
On what?
On what turn did Max and Lando make contact?
Oh my god. Turn 1?
All right.
I'm so bad. That was bad.
Your time was a 33.97.
It's for the how many turns are there in Austria?
For every question that you get wrong,
Yeah, we're
gonna
add time.
add a second. Yeah, we're gonna add a second.
Which
so
is probably all of them.
Let me pull
Well,
up.
that's the first one. I know the first one I got right.
Pull up our handy dandy Pints and Pit Stops board. So today's date.
Right. I looked up the circuit.
You're looking up the answers. Don't ruin that.
Just the circuit facts. That's the only one I wanted to look up. How many turns there were.
All right. Let me find the script. Let me find my notes because I have so many tabs open. I can get rid of Reddit now, actually. All right. Who did Charles Leclerc make contact with on the opening turn of the Grand Prix? That was, in fact, Oscar Piastri. That's
fair.
You got that question correct. Right. It was a whole family ordeal.
Mm-hmm. No hard feelings there, though.
No. In the track facts video, was it raining or dry? You said dry. That is correct. It was dry.
Well, then I was like, wait, because I didn't even go to the end of the end of the video. I saw the first lap was good, and the second was between the first and second lap, and I was like, wait, did it start raining during the last lap?
You do have dynamic weather turned on in that game, so it's like that is a possibility.
So
I will go so Silverstone. I just did when I recorded Silverstone. Qualifying was raining, and I loaded up the game. And you should see me. I was like, oh fuck! It was like this is gonna be bad. It's gonna be so slow. But then the race was dry. It was good.
Yeah.
How many turns are there in Austria? There are 10 turns. So you got that one right as well.
Mm-hmm.
What places did the Haas drivers finish in? You said 5th and 8th. Mm-hmm. They did finish 6th and 8th.
Ah!
So I will give you. I'll give you a half a second added on because you got half of the question right. And then finally, on what turn did Max and Lando make contact? You said turn 1. It was turn 3. So overall, you added a second and a half to your time. So that brings you up to 35.47. So, and you don't have any average times yet. Obviously,
restarting, putting our times in.
Yeah, because we never really had. Actually, I do have some times that I should be able to find for you. Yeah,
we should ask the Land of Threads to give us a topic for next week's guest.
Oh, we should. That's good.
I'll have to I'll message Linus because he always gave some good topics.
I'll enter this later. I'll figure it out. I'm struggling right now. It doesn't matter too, because like I said, you don't have an average or anything yet. So, all right. Well, that was Pints and Pit Stops. Like I said, my pint is beer, or is water.
My pint is beer.
But if you're in the Philadelphia area, I highly recommend going and checking out Human Robot. They have some sweet F1. See if I can get this to focus. Some sweet F1 gear.
You have to go to the other sticker. You have the McLaren one too.
I know. I didn't want to. There you go.
Oh.
Yeah. Human Robot. It's a very cool spot. We will be there on Sunday for our Silverstone watch party. Mm-hmm. We are very excited about that. I would definitely be getting more beer there.
I'm getting a bagel this time.
And I'm going to get a bagel and a coffee for this race. But yeah, that was Pints and Pit Stops.
Thanks, everyone. Do you want to do the ad read before we go into the...
Yeah.
Because I've heard we do recap mailbag preview.
That's good. So our race recap, our Austrian GP recap is powered by our new partner, Duracell Portable Power Stations. From the #1 trusted battery brand, Duracell Portable Power Stations and charging hubs allow you to power your laptops, mobile devices, lights, speakers, and any small electronics to make your life easier during a power outage or while you're away from an outlet. I can really attest to this. I am a huge gadget person. I like having toys and things with technology, hence this racing chair. That's not really technology, but it kind of is. I can feel like it hits I like having gadgets type thing. And I always need to charge them. So having a big, portable power bank would be awesome, and it is awesome. If you ever out in the field, I would have loved it if we had it at Miami. That would have been a lifesaver. Because we were outside all day. We had no outlets near us. It would have been awesome just to bring it with us. It would have fit right into a backpack and just go, boom, plug it in. It would have been good, and we're set to go. We made it the whole day.
Especially because we had like the live timing up and like taking videos. I was on Instagram Live. It would have been nice to have that. Yeah.
It would have been fantastic. And then you have your normal, what if my power goes out type deal. So you don't have to worry about if my devices die. When your power is out, you can plug it in, charge them right up. So please, you can click the link in this episode description. It will also be in the description below the YouTube video to check out the Duracell Portable Power Stations, including their 2024 Red Dot award-winning N150 and M250 models. And untether your device charging from the wall and power the possibilities with Duracell Portable Power Stations. Thank you, Duracell, for partnering with us. We're so happy.
Duracell. Thank you for having great cool batteries placement on the Williams car also.
Yes.
Thank you. The race.
Yeah, recap. There's a lot to unpack here.
I feel like we have to go from the list I have up, but put Williams before Alpine, because that's when the most of the talking has to go. Because there's Williams, V-Carb, Sauber, Aston Martin. I can just say.
Well, so I do want to touch on the point you have for Aston Martin. But yeah, so Sauber, V-Carb, Williams, not much from this weekend. Nothing really crazy that happened. You did have a moment where Alex Albon overtook Charles Leclerc because Charles had some issues in the first lap and was down in 19th.
And so that took a pit stop every 4 laps, I swear to God.
Yeah. But you had that cool moment, but it didn't last long. It was also because Charles was on older tires than Alex, so it was just it made logistical sense why it happened. So nothing really to kind of talk about. But for Aston Martin, they are really they're struggling. They are
struggling.
A full 180 from where they were last year. And it's kind of wild to say that we're already pretty much halfway through the season at this point. And it's just insane because they obviously last year up to this point were we had conversations where it was just this could be a title fight. It was Aston Martin could be, pushing for that second place. And the fact that they've fallen this far now, they did. Oh wait, did we say this? Did we talk about this last week with Lance Stroll signing a multi-year contract?
Oh, no, we didn't, because it was news that everyone knew.
Yeah, so Lance Stroll, they signed Lance Stroll, which makes sense. Okay, whether it's a nepo baby thing or if they actually want him, regardless. The point being is they are slacking and they're struggling, and they really need to look for some sort of move that kind of equates to what McLaren did last year in terms of we started out really shitty. Maybe we can turn this around and salvage the season.
It's definitely fastest lap though, Alonso.
Alonso did get fastest lap. Well, you're right, which was funny because he stole it away from Max.
Yeah,
and it was like, okay, but yeah, right now looking at construction. Jesus, bad today. Constructors Championship. Aston Martin's currently sitting at 5th with 58 points. Mercedes is right above them with 196.
Yeah, and I could see teams below them catching up. So, below them? I mean, we are Silverstone is round 12. So, next week is this weekend is halfway through the season. I mean, it is VCARB is 30, but their upgrades aren't working as well.
No.
Cool to see where Haas maybe can go, but yeah, no. But I could see some changes being made, unfortunately.
I can definitely see some changes being made. So yeah, they're kind of just stuck in a rut right now, and they need to do something to figure it out. But jumping over from them to then Alpine, who had another
close call.
Not as bad as Monaco, because obviously Monaco, there was the physical contact, but we had what? Close. We had a good 7 laps where they were wheel to wheel, and they were just Esteban and Pierre were just fighting the whole time.
And they were telling them over the radio, and then you had Pierre's iconic radio going, "Ciao!"
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it goes back to it's the same sentiment as what we were saying with Monaco of they need to figure this out. And, I understand that, okay, you've already made the announcement. You're already moving on from Esteban in 2025. So, yes, you kind of did something to figure it out, but you still have 12 more race weekends to go through with these two as your teammates. You still have to go all the way to November as teammates. And it's like, they need to do something. They need to have a scripted Drive to Survive moment like they did with Ferrari, where Fred is, or where Bruno's talking to them and is like figure the shit out, you know?
He's sneezing. He's coughing.
I like to feel from a mile away.
He's coming back. No, I
was also searching for my mouse there too to click the mute button.
All of a sudden, I saw the look on your face. I was like, "What the hell is happening?" You look like you're scared to death. No, and I was thinking earlier. I was like, Monaco, we thought was like the tip of the iceberg with tension wise, but I mean, like we said, it was a good few laps where. I mean, they were physically wheel to wheel. Like they were driving exactly next to each other for a very long time. So like
they were the drama before it kind of settled in for
they were like
30-something laps.
Yeah, they were like well, you had the start with Oscar and Charles, and then you had then it was like them, and then it died down, and then it exploded. But like I feel like it sounds awful. I feel like we're due for another crash with the two of them because they are like they don't like they do not like each other at all.
It's so well known, and it's like I just can't imagine being a team principal and trying to manage that relationship. You know, like I need to take two guys who despise each other and force them to work together, you know? And it's like, and then you get moments like this where they both are like thinking like I'm entitled to be in front here. And it's just, like you said, they're due for another slip up. They're due for another contact between each other. And it's just like, come on. And the other aspect of this too is they started doing better in qualifying. They're making it to Q3 and everything. So it's like your team is starting to perform a little bit better. And if you two are going to continue to like fuck it up and let your hatred for each other screw that up, there's going to be consequences. Now, again, you can go into the whole like, oh, well, Esteban's already gone. Like what more can they do? They already fired him. And it's like, yeah, sure, but somebody's got to get through to them and reel them in and figure out like you got to figure shit out.
Like you said, if they take each other out, both cars are damaged. That's a lot of cost. Like it could be very bad very quickly. Get very bad very quickly. But yeah, moving on from kind of not a great team to a team that they're very underrated now, and they are surprising us all week after week, and I feel like they're just going to get better from here. And I'm excited to see Ollie and maybe and whoever else is in Haas next season, because I think it's only going to continue going. I said this to someone over the weekend. I said, yes, Gunther getting fired was like, obviously no one was happy at first because of his personality and who he was. But I think Ayo Komatsu is the perfect person for the team. I
think letting go of Gunther was the right move.
Yes, the right move. Yeah. But yes, they both finish, as we just said, in Pints and Pit Stops. They finished 6th and 8th. Nico was 6th. K-Mag was 8th. And I just kept posting, and I was like, they were in the top 10 the entire race. They did not.
Yeah.
And
they didn't drop at all.
They were battling Checo Perez for literally almost the entire race. Like, they look good. It was a great weekend from them. Definitely like a confidence boost that they need going forward. Like I said, I'll be excited to see how they go moving forward with any upgrades that they bring. But yeah, they're very underrated right now. So
it was a huge points haul for them too.
Yeah,
it's like they're up now into 7th place. And I'm pretty sure they leaped over Alpine for that. I can't fully remember the leaderboard standings before the race, but yeah, I mean, the fact that they're only 11 points behind VCarb, I mean, that's a huge target on VCarb's back. And if I'm Komatsu, I'm looking at them and saying exactly what we've been saying of like, hey, these upgrades are not working for VCarb. We can get them. Like we can get them and jump up to 6th, and I'm pretty sure that would be Haas's best standing finish.
Yeah,
if the season were to end, like that'd be wild for the team. But yeah, they're definitely the one thing that I liked was they finished well without needing to do the whole penalty. I'm going to drive with my elbows out. Yeah, like kind of mentality of like we raced well and we finished high in the points. And it's like, yeah, like absolutely.
Didn't they come over the radio at one point to tell K-Mag like save your tires? I think they told him to like save your tires at one point.
Yeah.
And I think he seemed like a little annoyed, but he was like, okay. But yeah, no, they didn't have to use K-Mag as the shield. To keep
battering ram, shield.
Hulkenberg in the front. But yeah, no, that looks great for Haas. I'm excited for them. See if they can keep it going this weekend. Moving forward, Ferrari.
We're going to Ferrari?
Yeah, but I think we have to end with the Red Bull McLaren drama. So we can talk about Ferrari, talk about George.
You're right.
So Ferrari, once again, did you read up on it? I don't have a lot of knowledge on it. They have a balancing problem, like porpoising.
No, I really wanted to.
It's not
I just lost.
I went back and watched some I feel like it doesn't. Maybe there wasn't enough camera angles of it, but yeah, it's definitely an issue, and I feel like it only started when they brought in the big upgrades in Spain. So can they fix it with more upgrades?
Right.
Yeah. Charles had issues all weekend. It was not a good weekend. First, it was with the sprint quali. They thought they had time to send him back out. And then they told him it was the anti-stall. That radio was so funny. And he was like, thanks, but no, the car doesn't turn
it's
off
not.
with anti-saw. So the car just shut off. So he was out Q2. Yeah, he just had issues all around. He, like I said, he made contact with Oscar at the beginning of the race, literally turn 1. He then pitted right away for a new front wing, and they kept pitting him. At first, I was like, oh, they're just probably using him for like data at this point with the upgrades. They're just like letting him drive for like telemetry and stuff. And then they had that radio come over, and they're like, we think your finish can be in the points. And I was like, all hope was gone at that point. And then I heard that radio, and I was like, absolutely no way. And then he worked himself back up to 10th, and then they pitted him again, and then he worked his way back up to 11th. So like he was very, very close to finishing the point. So that was obviously a massive drive for him because he basically climbed back up the grid like however many times because he kept getting pulled into the pit lane.
He had 3 or 4 pit stops. I think
they got
3.
The fastest pit stop for one of them. So
yeah, because it was what 195, something like that.
Yeah, let me look it up. Race results.
Yeah, I mean, just like listen, going into turn 1 in any sort of starting lap of a race is always a hit or miss, and I mean, it's just like it's so unlucky that Oscar was able to get away with pretty much no damage, and
he was like fine.
Go in. So it's just like it's super unlucky. But I mean, yeah, great drive to go all the way back from 19th to 11th. I mean, it's like that's like you got to commend him for that.
The fastest pit stop was 1.95. But then when you watch, because at first people were like, there were people like saying, is there going to be a penalty on the incident with him and Oscar? But then when you look at the onboard, it is clearly just a racing incident, and he was almost it almost kind of looked like Mexico again, but not to that extreme, obviously. He was almost squeezed in the middle because Oscar was on one side and Checo was on the other.
But Sergio on the other side.
Like he did back out a little bit and then only clipped Oscar because, they pointed out how many freaking times that front wing on the McLaren, there's literally a very sharp little edge, perfect for a puncture, and it worked later on in the race. But so that obviously was awful. And then you had, on the other hand, Carlos, who ends up on the podium in second, on third, which was a great which was a great finish. Good point value, but Charles doesn't end up in the points, but it doesn't hurt him. He doesn't end up in the points since Lando didn't finish the race either. So
it really going into this, like we talked about it a little bit, like it really was like the perfect scenario for Charles and Lando, because it was like Charles suffered from that in the beginning of the race. So using us as the example, I'm sitting there thinking like, oh my God, this is such a huge opportunity for Lando to separate from Charles in the points. If Lando wins this race, it's 25 points and Charles gets none. And then it's like, obviously you have all the shit that went down later on in the race. Lando ends up not finishing. So it's like Lando has no points. Charles gets no points, so it's like Lando. They both didn't lose or gain a spot, so it's kind of like it sets up this idea that's
they cancel each other out almost.
And then honestly, I'm hoping somebody tells them that, because I think for both Lando and Charles, that would help with the idea of just okay, scrap the race. We're going the next weekend. Just because you're not deep. It's not like Lando immediately took P2 and then the next race lost it. And he was like, oh man, that was my first time getting up there. Now I just lost it all the way. It's just straight up you guys both washed. It's just forget about the race. It's all said and done. You didn't lose any positions in the driver standings. Let go of it and move on.
No, I agree. But so hopefully, fingers crossed, it's better this weekend. Moving on to Mercedes, the surprise winner. If you told me at the beginning of the weekend that George Russell was going to win the Austrian Grand Prix, I would have said, But
my two biggest takeaways from this, and one is more of a joke, so I'll say it first, but the other one is more of an analysis of it. But the funniest thing was Toto coming over the radio to George saying, You can win this. You can win this. And George answering with, just let me fucking drive.
Yeah.
And I love it's also come out through the totals, like coming out now saying, like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever done. Like going over, like talking to him over the radio in that moment. Like, stupidest thing I've ever done. Like, no doubt about it. Just like all time, like that feeling of just like that to me when he's like, just shut up and let me drive is saying to me, like, he's like, I know, let me focus.
I know. It's my race to lose now. Well, people were saying it was
finish it.
People were saying Toto finally got to watch him win because Toto wasn't there in Brazil when he won.
Right.
So like, because then George came out after, he was like, when he was screaming in my radio, I almost crashed because he was so loud.
Yeah.
Toto was very excited.
The other thing that I want to bring up, and I posted this too on Twitter, but I'm happy for George. I am not a George Russell hater. I am by no means a George Russell hater. I do think that race, though, was more of a George didn't win it. It was Red Bull and McLaren lost it.
Yep.
And he was in the right place. He was in the right place at the right time, which, like, don't get me wrong. There's a certain level of skill that goes into that of just, like, I'm making sure that I have a clean race. I'm making sure that I have a good race. So that way, if anything happens, I can capitalize from it. You know, like, there is a level of skill that goes into that. But,
yeah,
like, to put it this way, too, like, George wasn't even a thought in really anybody's head watching Lando and Max. You know, like the entire spectacle was on, okay, either Lando or Max is going to win this race, which is like, it was good racing, so I understand why, but like, the reason I'm saying this is just because it's like, I think it's a matter of perspective and just like, it's not like Mercedes came out and they were like, we have a shit ton of upgrades, we've made the car so much faster, and then came out and dominated the field. And they were like, look at what we did. You know, it was we built a decent car. George happened to be in third, and he capitalized on it, which great. All respects and skill, you know, admitting to that. You know, like you were in the right place at the right time, you did your job, and you won because of it, and that's awesome. But I think it's just a matter of perspective. Just like, I don't think George won that race. I think it was Red Bull and McLaren lost it, and George capitalized on it. That's it. You know?
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen other people posting about this too, and I kind of agree. I mean, George has been patient for the past few races. I mean, he had that great start in Spain where he went from P4 to P1. So I think he's just kind of been maybe in the right place at the right time for the past few races, and it paid off in this exact moment for this race for the win. But yeah, no, I agree. It wasn't like, I mean, Max and Lando were very far out in front. So like, it wasn't like he was fighting with them or could have almost been hit by the contact that those two made. So yeah, I do. Right. I mean, but also overall, huge point grab for both because Lewis finished fourth.
Yeah, it's a massive point grab from Mercedes, and they continue this trend of being the most winning or like point getting team in like the past couple races. They've gotten like 100 points.
Yeah,
and
like 30.
Red Bull behind them is like 80 something. Like they're climbing. They're making a fight, and it's fun to see. I mean, I don't want them to capture McLaren, but.
No, I do because I know because with the way Ferrari, I feel like is maybe slipping a little bit. Then you have a 3-team battle for second, third, and fourth.
That'd be nice. That'd be cool.
No, and I do think the upgrades for them are working. I think they finally figured it out. Their cars have been so awful for the past few years. I think they finally figured it out. Yes, there's a question that we have when we do the Threads mailbag on Mercedes, so we'll go back to talking about them then. But yeah, moving on. Before we get into the craziness, the friendship ending incident of Austria 2024, Checo, man. I mean, it was proven before, but now it's even 100%, 200% proven that if Max is not in the race for the win, Checo's not. He's behind Max. Max could be in 10th, and Checo could be not even in the points. So it's just... Yeah. I do see people like questioning why they signed him more for an extension because he's not even, I feel like you can't even say He is a good, because I feel like maybe a few years ago, like with our first year together, if Max wasn't having a good race, Checo was the one winning.
Right.
And like they were
Yeah,
both.
you're right.
That team is on Max's shoulders, I feel like. But yeah, so that's all I want to say about Checo because I really don't think there's anything else you can add.
No, I mean,
yeah.
it's not a good look for him when you're now. Granted, Max and Lando were pretty far ahead of the field, but it's not a good look when Max punctures a tire and drives it home on 3 wheels and then still finishes ahead of you. You know, it's like, all right, like what is going on here? But I mean, there's not much else we can say about it just because it's like, wait and see what happens. You know, like, and it's not like it's not like he's waiting for a new contract. It's not like we can sit here and talk and be like, is he going to get that offer? Is he not going to get that offer? He already has he already got the offer. So it's like
signed. Yeah. No, it's his. Yeah. It's wild to see. Okay. Now to the friendship ending incident. The last 20 laps of this race, I went from like leaning back, I wasn't really paying attention, to all of a sudden, I had F1 TV, so all of a sudden I hear Alex Jake's voice go up like 20 octaves, and I was like, what the hell? But it was building. The last 20 laps, it was building. And if you, we were talking about McLaren posted Anthony Davidson's recap video of the Sky, like the Sky Pad, whatever they call that big screen where they go back and show everything. It is great. It's a great breakdown to get the last few, because there were multiple things leading up to that last crash. I'm not even going to say the lap numbers because I'm going to blank and probably get them wrong. So all I know is I think the last, when they made contact for real, was lap 62, I think.
64, I think.
64? Okay.
Yeah.
So before they show, well, Anthony Davidson had 2 screens up. You have the onboard from Lando, and then you had the camera showing the rear wing of Max. So you got like both vantage points. This is what you needed. So there's the first one where Lando goes to try and make a move on the inside. And Max breaks late, totally moves him, like goes back this way, and Lando has to go to the other side of Max. Could have been a crash there. And that's what Anthony Davidson said. He was like, Max has crashed into the back of his teammate before, Daniel Ricciardo, for this exact reason. Like, Anthony Davidson brought the receipts. He brought different things of Max doing this before in different races. But then the second lap, I texted you, it kind of goes, it was Max's fault, it was Lando's fault. It was both of them.
Both.
Yes. The second one, it looks like the same place. Lando tries it again to go around.
It's all on turn 3. That's every single time he wants to make a move, all at turn 3.
So Lando tries to go make the move again, but he goes to the other side of Max, since that's where, like, Max just moved to the inside of turn 3, leaving Lando on the outside. That's where Max, he gets run off the road. He brakes too late, like a little lockup, and he runs off the road. He gives the position back to Max because he had an advantage or gained a position off the track. Yeah. And that's when Anthony Davis is like, I think if it was a clean turn anyway, Lando would have still went off the track.
Yeah.
So, like, but that was Lando's fault. Then another lap, you go back around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lando's back on the inside of Max, not like, or technically the outside of turn 3. And Anthony Davidson goes, you have to leave, it's in the rules, you have to leave a car's width between, like, Max's car to the end of the track. And he draws the line. When Lando's right there, it starts out as the width of an F1 car, and then it's no longer the width of an F1 car.
Yeah.
And then they make the contact, and Lando probably should have caused a safety car and a red flag because he was throwing carbon fiber parts all over that track.
Everywhere.
And that was something I feel like people were more pissed about because was it Checo?
Yes, I know what you're going to bring up, and I have a rebuttal to it, but go ahead.
Well, I can see the good both sides, so I'll interested what you're saying, but because he had carbon fiber all over, I get that the track was like the race was almost done or whatever, he just made it back to the pit lane and didn't come back in. But, I mean, there was parts, you watch the slow-mo, that tire is literally
it's ripping,
wasting away. There's parts of the I guess the floor of the carbon fiber flying all over the track. So like anyone else could have clearly hit that and then had more damage. But there was a virtual safety car for maybe like 5 seconds, and that was fine.
It popped up real fast and then went right away.
Yeah. What were you gonna say?
So my only thing, because I actually had a conversation. Somebody posted this on Twitter too, and they were like, "Well, why is Checo got a three place penalty when he was driving with the damaged stuff on the track, and Lando got nothing?" And the only thing, and I could be completely wrong about this, I'm going strictly off of memory here. The only thing that I could think of is I'm pretty sure I remember when Checo got his damaged rear wing and there was stuff kind of going on the track and whatnot. He drove past the pit lane, I'm pretty sure.
A few times. And that was the thing we were talking about. We talked about this because they were trying to they didn't want the safety car or something because then Max would have been under pressure from Lando. So they didn't want it. But yeah, he kept going, but driving very slow.
So he voluntarily passes the pit lane, right?
The team owned up to it, saying we told him to keep it up.
Lando gets damaged on turn 3 and still has 7 turns to go for his tire to deteriorate. And then the moment he gets to the pit lane, he goes right into the pit lane.
Yeah.
So I can understand what people are saying of Checo drove with a damaged car and he got penalized. Why isn't Lando? And it's just he never had a chance to go into the pit lane until the tire was already gone. So that's what I can see what people are saying, but
no, that's what I'm saying. I get both sides of it, but can you imagine if we got a red flag and then we had a standing start for the last 3 laps?
Oh my god.
A 3-lap sprint. It would have been nuts. But yeah. It was pretty chaotic. I mean, Max did get a 10-second penalty.
Yeah.
And he served it. Lando got a 5-second penalty, and there was this whole discussion after because he didn't serve it and all this stuff. But because he basically completed the entire race, I think they had to do I can't remember exact number. It's 80 or 90% of the race.
It's 90% of the race, and he 90%. I remember looking this up because Adam from F1 Fantasy and I were having a conversation about it.
Yeah.
It's 90% of the race, and the 90% mark I'm pretty sure was lap 63 and a half.
Oh, so he just made it.
Literally just made it. Yeah, I know, I posted back to Adam and I was talk about cutting it close because that 64th lap I think was him completing 90% of the race.
Putting carbon fiber parts all over the track was him completing what he needed to. Okay. Yeah. So because people were saying he didn't serve it, so then he would have had a grid penalty for this upcoming race, but he served it. That was fine. He didn't. Yeah, obviously it didn't count because he DNF'd. I think if you look, it says that he was lapped 7 times, but he wasn't 7 times. But yeah, so there was penalties given. I think the biggest thing is, especially with that video with Anthony Davidson, is Max has done this before plenty of times. That's what Anthony Davidson pulls up, shoving Charles Leclerc off the road during a race. I mean, Mercedes was very quick to be or even Stella was he had some intense words. Andrea Stella
was pissed. Yeah, Andrea Stella was definitely pissed off about it.
It was a great quote, but he basically was well, if you're not gonna hold him accountable before, why are you of course you're not gonna continue it.
Yeah, why would you do it now?
Yeah, I don't know where it is, but he had some choice words, and it was oh, okay.
Yeah, he was pissed.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if the tension continues this week because clearly. Another week, that McLaren is the fastest car on the grid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
100%
the fastest car on the grid. I remember, so I won't go into insane details about it, obviously, because we covered it pretty well. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely both of their faults. I mean, like you said, there's instances where it's Max did that, and then there's instances where it's Lando kind of just dive bombing and braking way too late and locking up, and it's okay, so Lando did that, and then you have the collision and whatnot, and it's whatever. It's a racing incident. Lando got a penalty. Max got a penalty. That's all I care about. The FIA. I think the FIA could have been a little bit quicker with the dishing out of penalties.
Yeah.
But regardless, they both got penalized for it. Did it do anything for Max? No. It doesn't matter. He had built that gap.
But yeah,
it was fine, right? My question, and I honestly, I want to like clip this and post it because I'm very curious and I'm really hoping someone can answer. What if you're McLaren, right, and you're chasing Max? Everything to me in that moment lined up for McLaren to pull off an undercut. And I don't know why they didn't, because here's my thing, right? So you all the teams have access to the radios, right?
Yep.
You are hearing Max say, my tires are going to shit, right? Like that's it. You know, like my tires are going to shit. I can't hold on to them any longer, blah, blah, blah. So you thinking race strategist in your head, you're thinking, okay, Max is coming into the pits, right? So if you say you pit Lando, right? I was looking at the leaderboard because I was very confused as to why this was. You come out in between George and Lewis. George and Lewis. You would split the Mercedes. And
he could have easily gotten by.
He could have easily gotten by George. And then in front of George was Oscar. And then in front of George, Oscar was, or at the time, in front of Oscar was Carlos. So it's like you have this scenario where obviously eventually Oscar overtook, Carlos and whatnot, but you have your teammate and one other car that you're faster than, and you're on fresher tires then, leading up to first place.
Yeah.
And then Max pits. And then guess what? You're in first, and Max comes out in fourth or fifth and has 5 laps to heat up tires and catch up to you as much as he can. Just watching it now, I did realize this as I was like the other day when I was thinking about this. They very well could have gone in to try that. It might have just worked out that Max went in on the same lap. So McLaren could have said because obviously they're not going to come over the radio and say you're going to pit exactly on this lap. It's going to be that box message that last second. So it's they could have been hey, Lando, come in, or trying to tell him you're going to come in on this lap, blah, 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 or getting ready to bring him in to pull off the undercut. And Max could have just went in at the same time, which is okay, that happens. But I'm just listening to watching this race, I was this is the prime scenario for an undercut. So why
didn't they?
Why didn't they? And again, if they tried to, okay. You tried, Max just happened to go in at the same time you did. And you know what? It kind of worked out for you because Max had that really slow stop. It was Max stop was 6.5 and Lando was 2.9 or something like that.
It was slow for Red Bull.
So it was you made up that time there. Obviously, what led to the crash. But I'm just watching it and seeing Lando catch him and everything and analyzing the situation. I was why are you not pulling him in?
Going for the under. I saw other people asking the same thing because it seemed like the perfect scenario for them to do that perfectly. No, I saw that. I had something else I wanted to say, but I can't remember what I wanted to say. Oh, no, because you were saying they have the data or everyone else's team radios. That was the thing. Charles went on the hard tires so early. So every other team knew that those hard tires were shit for the rest of the race. So no one went back on the hard tires. Everyone, if they did, they quickly went in and went around the mediums again. That's the thing. They knew when he was probably coming in. Yeah, it does make me question why didn't they do the undercut. But yes. Moving on to our new segment, Fred's Mailbag.
Fred's Mailbag. I'm so ready for these questions.
We have 2 questions. One is on Mercedes and one is on Ferrari. We will try to answer the Ferrari one to the best of our ability. So we probably can. The Mercedes one is from a user called Sunshine Sarah. So thank you so much. It says, I said we were obviously going to be talking about Austria. There's lots to recap.
Right.
So she says it was pure chance, luck, and being in the right place at the right time for George to win on Sunday. But do you think he would have been able to get a better podium place if Norris and Verstappen hadn't have collided? There's another second part to the question, but I feel like we should answer this one. And I don't know. George would have been third. I don't think he would have gotten second or first.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head what the gap was to Sainz behind him.
I don't think Carlos was catching
him, whoever it was in Oscar. Right there. But no, I mean, because I said, it wasn't Yeah, I don't think so. I think third would have been it. Because like we said, it wasn't like there was the battle between Max and Lando, and you were hearing, broadcasters and everything and saying like, oh, George is sneaking up there too. Like the battle was solely focused on Max and Lando. And there was a radio message that George sent out saying like, Lando and Max are going to drive each other off this track. So I think Mercedes and George specifically may have been more in like the, let me just kind of hang back and not get entangled into this. Because I'm sure Mercedes. What?
Sorry, have you ever done the live replay timing on the app? I can tell you what the app is. It's literally the leaderboard, and it goes up and down, and I can scroll. So I scrolled all the way to lap 62 right before it happens. That's good. So the gap to Max was 15 seconds. So no, he was not catching. Yeah. And Carlos was 18 seconds. He was not catching.
Yeah, it's definitely.
When did Oscar overtake Carlos?
I think like lap 65. No, it was before the crash.
65.
65.
That was after the crash. Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, no. So literally, we could look back. I don't think he was not catching. He wasn't catching them. He would have ended in third.
Yeah. Good question, though. Very good question.
Second part of the question from her is, did Mercedes have the right strategy for both cars, or are they favoring George more now? We've talked about this before. I still think they are not favoriting, but George is getting the better strategy. But I do also think they both had equal strategy, I think, the whole weekend. It worked well for both of them, I think, to the best they could have gotten.
Yeah, I don't remember hearing anything like major about different strategies between them. And their tire selection didn't indicate any sort of like different strategies.
No, and Hamilton qualified 5th, finished the race 4th. So
yeah. I do agree though. George is definitely, I think, getting priority with a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Absolutely.
Which kind of makes sense. You're trying to elevate him into this veteran status on the team, regardless, depending on who you bring in next year, most likely, I'm pretty sure it's Kimi Antonelli, right?
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah. So you're trying to kind of elevate him to this leadership status of the team. So it's like, kind of makes sense because it's like, hey, we want you to have the winning mindset of a leader.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't think they're like ignoring Lewis or anything. I think it's just George is getting priority.
Yeah. Next question, the Ferrari one. This is from fellow Ferrari lover Sabrina. She posted, do you think Ferrari will be able to fix the bouncing problems of the car in the upcoming races, and do you think the upgrades worked? I do have faith they can fix the bouncing problems. I think the past 2 tracks were very bumpy, because I remember hearing Max complaining about how bumpy they were. So yeah, and I feel like Silverstone it's probably a better surface, I would think. There's racing on that track all the time, so I feel like they can maybe get the bouncing under control. If not, it's going to be in Hungary because there's a week off next week, so they have a full week to go back to the factory, figure something out, make changes where they can. Do you have anything to add on that before the upgrade?
Yeah, the only thing I agree with everything you're saying about. I agree with what you're saying. I think where I'm getting my idea from of like, yes, they can figure out, is I have a lot more faith in Fred and Fred's team to develop the car than I did in the past couple of years. So going into that, I don't want to say yes, they're going to solve the issue, but I could see Fred making it a priority and it actually getting solved. I have a lot of faith in Fred and his development team in terms of we need to figure this out. So I hope that answers the question.
No, that does. And that kind of goes into the upgrade part. Do you think the upgrades worked? I think it might be, they brought them Spain. So we've had 2 races, and Charles has had weird reliability issues the past 2 races. So I feel like it's a hard sample size. I feel like there's moments like I feel like I still think they might have sacrificed quali pace way too much for race pace, because quali has not been the same since. Charles and Monaco was on a different level, but I still feel like they sacrificed a little too much there. So I do think they're working. I think as they bring in more upgrades, they will continue the work. But yeah, I think they can get the reliability issues. Like they both were having like brake issues. I feel like they had to like lift and coast a lot. So I think they can do it. I think they'll work.
I'm going to answer this question in like a backwards way. I don't know if they're working. I agree with what you're saying in terms that the sample set is kind of maybe a little too small. But what I can tell you and what I feel more confident in saying is that they're not working. You know, like it's not like V-Carb's issue where they put the upgrades in and then all of a sudden the car went to shit. You know, like they're still up there contending for points. They're still making, like you're saying, they sacrifice quality pace, but they're still in Q3s. Yeah. You know, it's not like they push these upgrades out and then it's like, oh crap, the car's awful. You know? So I don't want to say that they're working. However, it's not, I don't think they're hurting the car. So that's where I'll leave that.
I like it. Yeah, those were our questions for our first ever official Threads mailbag.
Threads mailbag.
Yes. Silverstone preview. We will be at our watch party. Let's hope it's a better result for me than the last watch party. Hopefully I'm not yelling to just retire Charles' car because he wasn't going anywhere. I need him to turn it around quick. But yes, okay. Preview, like I said, there's now like a 30% chance of rain on Sunday. It looks pretty dry for quali and all that. FP1 and FP2 could be most likely compromised, but
right.
It could be very boring updates to post during. But yeah, let me just bring it back up. Hold on. Just got chills.
Oh.
Weather.com. Why aren't or the Weather Channel? Why aren't you working?
I can pull it up.
No, I got it. Chance of rain 30% on Sunday. Yeah, it'll be cool. 64 degrees. 63 on Saturday. No chance. Well, there's like a 19% chance of rain. Yeah, Friday, 70% chance. Local heavy rainfall possible. So yeah, I think. Yeah, predictions. Normal race weekend, so just race predictions. If you want to go first, or you want me to go first.
I'll go first. Mine are going to come as no shock.
Are you going full Delulu like I went full Delulu for Charles' home race?
I guess, but there's backing behind it. Okay. And I'm going to go Lando P1. I think Lando's going to win this. And I'm saying that because we've said this before where it's like, oh, if Lando finished P2, he's going to come back with a fire under his ass, like all this stuff. I think he's really coming back with fire under his ass this weekend. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to want to show up and show out for his home race.
And let's not forget, he was the one that had Max at turn 1 last year, took the lead.
Right. So yeah. The car's in so much of a different place than it was last year. It was like when he took that turn 1 lead last year, it was like, holy crap, Lando Norris is winning a race. And it was like, it's not going to last long. Max. It's like you kind of knew. But yeah, I'm going to go Lando P1. I will go. I'm probably, you know what? I'll just dive right in again. If we've gone into coming back with fire under his ass, I'll go Charles P2. And then I'll have to say, well, I don't know. Charles P2, I'll stick with it. Lando P1, Charles P2, and then my boy Oscar P3. I'll go. Okay. That's what I'll do.
All right. Are you ready? I'm going to go Lando P1.
Very nice. That's what I like to hear.
I'm going to go Lewis P2. Okay. That's maybe my Delulu pick. I think I'm going to do Lewis P2. Yeah. I think I want to cry for Lewis being on the podium in Silverstone. Also, it'll be emotional. It'll probably be just as emotional with Lando being up there like it was for Charles in Monaco. But yeah. So Lando P1, Lewis P2. I'm going to do Charles P3.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. Silverstone's such a cool race. Mm-hmm. It's so iconic and it's such a beautiful track. I'm super excited for it.
So good.
Yeah, the crowd's really good, and like we said, the love for Lewis this year is going to be going to be intense. Yeah.
I mean, just when you go back and watch the race start last year and you hear the crowd when they realize Lando's in the lead.
Oh, yeah.
Chills just thinking about it. But yeah, I think Lando, like you said, Lando's going to have. Well, first of all, I hope he's feeling much better. He's been sick the past 2 weekends, so I hope
he has
it's okay. Yeah, I hope he went home to mom and she made him like soup or something because he needs to be better. But yeah, so it's just something about it. It's also happy anniversary to the smack heard around the world with the bounty ball.
Yes. It's such a good video.
It's okay. And then you had Lewis being like, "Is he though?" And then Lando posts the picture of like the baby doll face, like smacked it. I'm okay. Yeah. So will be fun. The watch party will be fun. Like we said, we'll be at Human Robot again this weekend, the Schuylkill Banks location for an early morning watch party. 4th of July watch party with a race in the UK. Couldn't be any more patriotic than that. Maybe
so good.
We can give like Logan Sargent getting 10th. That's a win for America right there.
Wow. Okay.
You heard it here first. Logan Sargent P10. And Hells isn't even doing her P10 competition because they'll be at the race.
No, she's not. Yeah.
No. But yeah, then. Do you have anything else to add? Because I can preview for next week.
I got nothing.
Okay.
That's nothing.
So before we close this out, we have been teasing this all week, or all episode. We will be having our dear friend Mark Schofield back on the podcast next week to recap Silverstone. But it's also because it's exactly halfway through the season, and we had him on for a preseason thing. We had him on last year at the end of the season for a postseason thing. So it'd be cool to talk about, because, I mean, even in a preseason show, we were saying it was like, was Lando going to get his first win? Who was going to catch Red Bull? Like, I should go back and like write some things down.
Listen to our preseason show. I might do that, actually. I might join you in that. Just write down some of the things we said, like the big talking points, and then see how different they are.
Mm-hmm. That might be good. No, we should do that. That might be good. But yeah, so Mark will be joining us next week. It'll also be good because the following week we will not be having an episode because we will be away. But yes, so vacation. My birthday. We will. So yeah.
Owen's gonna get drunk.
Casey will also get drunk. Maybe we'll do like an IG live from the Outer Banks. We can get our race predictions because there is a race that following weekend in Hungary.
We are not doing F1 After Dark from the Outer Banks, from where we're being.
You just said it, so.
Yeah. Whoops. We're not doing that. We need to make that an official here in our home so we can get properly messed up.
Okay.
And watch a race or something.
Not like a live thing, like a quick check-in. Hi, see ya, bye.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. But yeah, so thank you all so much for joining us of episode 67 of the F1 Underground. No, last week was 67.
No, last week was 67, I'm pretty sure.
No, because last week was... Last week was 66.
No, it was not.
Yes, it was.
What a lie.
Last week, Spanish GP recap, Austria GP preview. 66.
It was.
So as I was saying, thank you for joining us for another episode of F1 Underground, episode 67. We will be back next week, like we said, with Mr. Mark Schofield.
Mark,
to talk about, to recap Silverstone and recap the first half of the season. If you're coming to our watch party, please do come say hi. We will be there.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you all next week. See ya.